One last question I want to ask you. At the juncture where you stand, uh,
Mm.
where you've been reasonably successful, there is a Agni kind of music that people look at. In the
Mm.
last, I think 6 months specifically, whatever little bit that I have been seeing your journey, you have
Mm.
actually gone back to the drawing board and really started drawing inspiration, creating stuff which has not been coming from you for a long time, because that is not the kind of expression you wanted or had at that point in time.
Sure.
How have you taken this whole serious thing called Mohan successful or whatever and put it out there, trying something which is completely not you in a manner? uh, how have you faced this vulnerability and how have you undergone the mental journey?
One interesting thing that happened actually. Um, this is I'm taking you back. I'm going to come to your question, but there's a background that I want to give to this.
Yeah.
When we created our first album as Agni, we had zero benchmarks. We had nothing to live up to. We had our sound. The only people who chose how that album is going to sound was the five of us in the studio. We did all of that. We went to Sony. I mean, we went to all the labels. We got a deal. We released that album. There also, we were like, yeah, these guys are saying make the songs shorter. They won't play on radio and all that. To us pe bhi hum bahut, we were pissed off and all of that. Um, but it was still our expression. There was, and not our expression ridered by anything. It was just what we felt that ye acha music hai. 2 years later, Ahaten became a big hit. Ahaten's non-lyric version became a big hit, because of which people started realizing that Agni exists. After which, then they heard our old songs. Now we had expectation. Now the problem is, you got to a show, there are 10,000 people singing Ahaten back to you, and now they're singing your previous songs, Sadore, Kabira. They're asking for more of your songs. No one's asking you for a cover anymore.
Oh,
But the next song that you release now has to live up to Ahaten. You are now trying to create a song which is like Ahaten. Now, what have you done? You created Ahaten because you wanted to create it. Ahaten actually is one of those. I used to hate people who used to say things like something like what you said in between. That music comes through you. People, it's very Bollywoodiya to say this. Na, अरे sir, मतलब मैं तो कुछ ऊपर वाला देता. You know, I used to hate that. ये क्या है? मतलब fake humility क्यों दिखा? Then it happened to us. Because Sadhuri took us some 6 months to get right and put it in. We were completely unhappy. We did Coco and I sat in a hotel room. He played one chord, started singing. He said, "Acha, सुनना, इसको ऐसा गा." 5 minutes, which is the duration of the song, it actually took that time to compose. And we were like, okay, so nice. And even we were surprised by the fact that we liked it so much. It's not just the fact that someone else liked it or anything like that. So we knew it's
which
a
is
good song.
never the case, I guess.
Sorry?
Which is never the case. I think a creative person first does things for himself or herself.
Sure. But immediate that, wow, I mean, this happened and we're not sure how it happened. It's that kind of a song. Uh, so we didn't create that song in a certain way. We spoke about it later. But after that song became popular, we were faced with this strange task of trying to figure out why it became popular. Was it because we did a promo on Splitsvilla? Was it because we decided to ask audience to write lyrics and because they were involved with the song? Is the business side of things, did that create popularity for the song? Did the song become popular because the tune is great? What is there in the tune that is great? There were no lyrics. The song, there were some complicated parts. It was not such a simple song that people could sing. There was only one part that people could sing along. That doesn't have any of the formulas of it becoming a popular song. I had sung it like da di da 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 di. So I thought maybe because it's phonetically very close to the sargam, ga re ga pa sa ni. Maybe that's why people are, because sargam is very powerful. All these thoughts happened. Now we were faced with the strange situation where we had to live up to a sound we had created for ourselves. Now we had an identity that we were too afraid to break. The failure from there was not an option because we were too new to success. We couldn't deal with the situation that those saal yaar, after we released our album, no one was calling us for shows. We were worried that will we still be able to be musicians. Our friend's father gave us 11 shows, so we could sort of earn money the first year. Should I go back to being a banker? Should I call my boss? Uh, was a question mark. Then this happened. Then now it's the opposite. okay, we have to live up to this. That is when our music composition took a little bit of a beating for a while. We didn't release those songs because we were continuously trying to create the next hit song. We stopped that in 2013. Then Kaise Ho Tum, Ranjane Ardi, all those songs happened, which were songs that were our expression again. But that journey, it took me a while to realize this is where I'm going wrong. Why am I trying to recreate something that's been done, or recreate even that success, and try and do one more of the same? That worked because we did something fresh. Now let's do something fresh, and the only way to do it fresh is to remove those expectations of ourselves. This is now what has been continuing over a period of time. This Carnatic music, my going back to roots, it's always been there. Now, whether or not I can, nibhao it properly in an Agni concert is difficult in terms of my classical. There are certain things that I I don't want to impose a sudden 6 minute alap and 6 minute sargam that I'm going to do where I'm showcasing my Carnatic skills or playing mridangam. Uh, I want to be able to showcase that in a way that people who come to hear an Agni concert also get what they've paid for. Now this lockdown gave us that opportunity for my sister, my mom, and me to collaborate and take these things forward. So, but it is much more to do with your mind gets freed up when you realize that you don't have to live up to your own name also. Whatever little name that because if it's a smaller name, it's even more important because that's all you have. You can't afford a failure. When it's a very big name, probably we haven't reached there, so I wouldn't know. But if it's a very big name, probably then you can afford to do that, or you can afford to say, "Ek do try kar lete hain." But here it's far more. Every next song is very important for you. Yeah? Every next release is like, oh wow, can't afford to let this go. So it takes a while to get over that and to understand that public are also not idiots. Your listeners, we've been lucky. Our listeners have been very, very faithful to us. Our listeners will be smaller in number than a Bollywood audience, but they'll be faithful to us and they'll listen to every song of us. So we owe them that we do whatever we feel honestly is the best thing that we have at that point. That's what we do. We create a song, we record it, we keep it, we listen to it 3 months later. Do we still like it? Do we want to change something in it? No problem. We'll remix it. We'll mix the whole thing again. We'll add things to the track. But if you're not happy with it 3 months later, we just don't bother. We don't release it. So that's those kind of learnings we've had along the way. We had the luxury of having it because now we're not such strugglers that we have to worry about our daily situation or what up kya. But that fear is always true. That our next song is really important. ऐसे नहीं छोड़ सकते यार. That is still there, and that in some cases is detrimental. In some cases helps to stay honest, but in some cases is detrimental because you're searching for a different achievement. You're not searching for the most honest approach. You're searching for what that song did for you in terms of success, and that's a tricky one, man. It's no, I don't think I'll ever be 100% this way or that way. Some part of it will be that I want that success. All of us do, but it's to be able to manage and to be aware of it. At least I've reached there. That okay, I'm now aware that there is this part of me which is talking about how to make this popular. वो मैं marketing पे छोड़ता हूँ. पहले अपना गाना तो बना लेता हूँ. So that I think I've been able to dealing that to a large extent.
That's wonderful. I've been thinking. I've known you as a friend for a long time, and I've known a bit of your music. Can't say I'm like one of the bigger fans who knows every song that you put out there. But today I'm really a very happy friend in that sense that I get to know the person who. I think it's an important thing that we gain from each other as people, as professionals, as friends. The value systems, that code of ethics that is not oftenly talked about, because most of the times, even when I started the values workshop, the bigger thing was that the one thing that has been spoken about to a lot of youngsters is success and failure, but nobody talks about how to deal with bad days or what is it that sustains your bad times. Like even in your last answer, while you're talking about your success, just that whole 6 month period, one can imagine how much you're successful. So you should be happy, but you're not happy because you're trying to recreate something, and you are a human being. You cannot say that it doesn't affect you at all, or your friends don't know, or you're not intelligent enough to understand. I think in the back of our minds, we do understand what are the problems. But just that whole journey itself is required for this to reach the point of being the poem, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully when I'm 70, I'll be able to say maybe
Yeah,
I am at some
yeah,
point.
yeah. It
At
is a
least
long way away.
strive for it. At least to strive for it.
Yes. So thank you so much, Mohan. It's been a wonderful conversation. Now
Man,
I'm
you
yearning
have,
to come and meet you one of these days because we've been planning
you
forever.
have to. Yeah, man. And know what the reason I was also keen to do this, I also didn't know what we were going to talk about beyond. You just said it's a conversation. करेंगे. Vulnerability पे था, that's something like that.
Huh.
But why I really like speaking to you over the last 2-3 years is about you don't do the ऊपरी ऊपर यार ये गाना अच्छा लगा, it's good to see that you're doing well, खत्म हो गया, and that kind of zone you're very clear that you want to tell me that सुन ये क्यों कर रहा है यार, तू अपना roots वाला कर, and I love that conversation. I might not have to agree with you all the time. That was never the point.
That's never
The,
the point.
the point is you care enough and are honest enough to have that conversation. Uh, and that's a very important thing for all of us to have in terms of the people we surround ourselves with, the people we choose to have conversations with. This industry is so easy to have people who are always saying, "अरे अरे sir, मतलब आपका तो हर गाना hit ही है, आपके सामने तो कोई भी नहीं है." We'll never reach there because we're not. That's a different zone. Let's
Yeah,
just put it that way.
journey.
But it's far more meaningful to have these conversations. At some point, even today, there would be some things that you would have said, which or I would have been forced to think of because you asked me that question.
Yeah.
And now I'll think about it, and that will affect me in my decision making later, or in how I choose to
All of
be.
us. All of us.
That's a great thing to be a part of, man. So thank you. I'm
Thank
glad
you
we
so
did
much.
this.
I'll see you
Okay.
around. Bye.
Done. See you. Bye.